Trying to get the backstage pass. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. All praise to the Most High Yah. As always, peace and greetings, salutations to the 12 tribes of Israel that are scattered abroad. Peace and salutations to you. Peace and salutations to the people who have joined themselves to the body of Christ through Mashiach. Peace and greetings to all of the people who are under submission under the mighty and powerful hand of Yahshua HaMashiach as we await for the great day of his return. Peace, salutations, love, and shalom to you. Last but not least, the poor, the heartbroken, the lost, the disturbed, confused. Shalom to you. There is a peace that surpasses all understanding, and it's available if you want it.
Yes.
It's just like when you were a child and you were in class, and my mom would say, I have a question about some homework, and she'd be like, well, why didn't you ask the teacher? And I said, well, I was scared. I was scared to ask. She said, well, you better raise your hand. She said, you better raise your hand and ask questions. So for those who are in a pit, stuck in a rut, always on a flat tire, there's something for you. You just got to raise your hand. Just raise your hand. And don't see if a hand from on high don't come and pull you up.
Yes, he will.
But you can't have, you have not because you what? You ask not. You ain't raised your hand. You ain't gonna get no answer.
Okay.
So peace to you, to the heartbroken, your spirit crushed. You've been lied to so much by the adversary, you wouldn't know the truth if the truth jumped up and slapped you and introduced itself. You're about to get slapped today. Not by my hands, though, because I'll get arrested. And then we'll finally be big time. Don't want to say nothing. And then something happen like that, then we'll be all over the news. Restoring Branch be all over the news, all over Facebook and WBBJ then. Have mercy. Gotta get up and slap somebody, get some attention. We're going to slap them with the word today. All right. So today will be a two-part series. And, happy birthday, America. Happy Independence Day. I know that was earlier in the week. What was that, Thursday or Thursday? But being it was so close to Shabbat, and we got some things to cover because there are things going on in the earth that we do got to be aware of, especially when it comes to the coming of Messiah. Because we've talked about these things, that there are certain things he got to do. Okay, one of those things is to gather Israel, to gather his bride. Okay. And we do talk about our nationality and ethnicity, but that ain't something you hang your hat on. Because what we really talk about is your behavior. If you don't act right, you don't act like Christ is in you, you don't talk like Christ is in you, well then you ain't part of his. I don't care who or your father, what your DNA say. People want to annul the New Testament because the New Testament talks about your behavior and your conduct. Your identity does not give you an excuse to be a sinner. Your identity does not give you an excuse to do and be how you want to be. To point the finger, it's that what's that West African proverb? You point at somebody, is what? 3 fingers point back at you. Blame game. Get yourself together.
You got to take responsibility for your actions.
So Independence Day, a very serious matter. Right on the day we just started, y'all just started shaking. You started shaking stuff up, didn't you? All he wants is the people to repent. That's really all he wants. To repent, that you may be saved. For some people, that's a hard thing to do now. I like my lifestyle now. I like my nightlife. I like what I eat. I like what I do. I like how I talk. I like how my life is. I like being in a trouble. I like having 4 or 5 women. I like having 4 or 5 men. Huh? I should have the right to date a little boy. I'm a grown man. I should have the right to go and give me a little girl. I'm a grown man. I should have the right to buy me a robot and marry the robot. Well, this is where you live. Huh? So happy birthday, America. This is for you. Part 1, Happy Independence Day, Part 1, Yah's Freedom. We're going to look at some things. What's that building right there? Capitol Hill. Who built it? We know who built it. People that were captains built it. And there's a thing on top of the Capitol Hill. There's a statue up there. We think we talked about this a couple years ago, but it just stuck in my mind. I might as well say it. There was a Frenchman who was here who, he was the only guy that could construct this piece. It's on top of the Capitol building after the government had hired or paid a plantation, with those slaves and stuff, and they built it all, the carpentry and the painting and everything. So nobody could put this piece because the French dude was pretty much like, look, I ain't going to do it unless you pay me this. It was something that happened, being real petty. He said, well, you know what? Nobody can do it, so he left. So make a long story short, you know who got that statue up there, don't you? You know who got it fixed, don't you? So happy birthday. Today is for you. So on the side, when we look at Independence Day in 1776, though a nation had gotten freedom, right, we still had people who were not, quote unquote, free or liberated. Okay? So what we're going to look at in this 2-part series about how does Yah define freedom? Okay? What does he define as freedom? And who do he want to be free? Okay? So how is Yah defining freedom? And, from a historical point, when America became a nation, and it's not just 13 colonies, right? It's not a colonized coast right under the British Empire rule. It becomes a nation now, so we are establishing something and you're not included. Okay? And when we're not here to pick and point the finger, we just want to establish the fact. So, when America is established, when the United States is established, if the so-called blacks, Negroes, captives, slaves are not included, then they're not free. And if they're not free, who will free them? And how and why? So that's what we want to look at today. So one more time, I just like saying it. Happy birthday, America. This is for you. Because there was all kinds of on social media. Happy birthday, America. I don't know if you saw it on Twitter and Instagram and all that stuff. And I was like, okay, well, it's happy birthday. It's a happy birthday. The Lord, 2 Peter 3:9, it reads, I got it up on the screen for you. The Lord is not slack concerning his promise. He's not slack in concerning his promise. As some men count slackness. We were talking about this in Torah class that, you can be praying for something for 38 years. And then all of a sudden, you just now see the seed start to sprout. You see a little green come up out the ground. You just see a little bit. It's like, wow. He heard. He did. He came. I got a glimpse of it. So we be like, man, is it ever going to happen? When? And then all of a sudden it happens. So the Lord's not slack concerning his promise. I think it was brought up today about the dabar, right? The word dabar, when we say Deuteronomy, dabarim, the words, comes from dabar, the word to speak, to talk. So when Yah talks, it's a promise. He ain't going to go back on what he said. He can't. He ain't like us. He ain't like us. So I see, look, we can sit there and talk about ourselves and our history and our identity. But I promise you, we always going to go back to, you got to walk straight. I don't care about nothing else. Give me, real quick, give me Philippians 3 or 4. Real quick, brother. And he said he just took a bite. Go to Philippians 3. Philippians 3 right quick.
Okay.
And just start in 1, brother. Philippians 3 and 1. Just going to start reading.
For the rest of my brothers, rejoice in Yah.
Right.
To write the same matters to you is truly no trouble to me, and for you it is safe. Look out for dogs. Look out for the evil workers. Look out for the mutilation.
So he started off, he said, who he talked to? He said, man, this is for my brothers. This is for the people of my nation. But you know what you're going to find in the midst of your nation? What your book just say? Dogs. Just sorry, no good, just trifling, ratchet. Go ahead.
For we are the circumcision.
We are the what?
The circumcision. Who are serving Elohim in the spirit. And
serving him in the what?
Spirit.
But hold you got right quick. Somebody give me John 4. Really quick. We're going right back to the brother. Not you, brother. You hold your spot. Somebody give me John 4. And then 23 and then 24.
John 4, 23, 24. But the hour is coming, and now is, when the true worshipers,
when the who?
True worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and truth.
In what?
Spirit and truth.
Go ahead.
For the Father is seeking.
For who is seeking?
The Father is seeking. Such to worship Him. God is spirit.
He is what?
Spirit. And those who worship Him must worship in spirit and truth. So
we got to get on His level when it's all said and done.
Yes.
That's why you got some folks, they always playing with chakras and trying to open up their third eye and some other knowledge because they're trying to be God in their flesh. Sit down somewhere. They're trying to be God in their flesh. They're trying to be God in their flesh. They're trying to open up their chakras and open up portals and open up their third eye. Read that last verse again.
Yes, sir. God is spirit.
He's spirit.
And those who worship Him must worship in spirit and truth.
Amen. Go ahead, brother. You pick back up, brother.
And boasting in Messiah Yeshua.
Boasting in who?
Messiah Yeshua. And do not trust in the flesh.
And do not trust in what?
In the flesh.
Now wait a minute. Now what she just read? Wait a minute. Was Paul and Yochanan, were they cousins? Did they hang out together? He said, don't boast in the flesh.
Right.
And then she just read that Yah is looking for those to worship in what? Spirit and what? Truth.
Right.
And then we got Shaul saying, hey man, you can't boast in your flesh now. Go ahead.
Though I too might have trust in the flesh. If anyone else thinks to trust in the flesh, I more. Circumcised the 8th day of the race of Israel.
Is that in your Torah? To be circumcised on the 8th day? Go ahead.
Of the tribe of Benjamin.
Is Benjamin, can we find them in the Torah?
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
A Hebrew of Hebrews.
A Hebrew, can we find Ivri or Evre or Evet in the Torah? Go ahead.
According to the Torah of a Pharisee.
Ooh.
According to a door. Persecuting the assembly. According to the righteousness that is in the law, having become blameless. But what might have been a gain to me, I have counted as loss.
Stop right there. See, he says something in his letter. He says, some of y'all, you want to be, you claim pride, or you excited about your Hebrew. He said, I said, I the more. And he started reading his resume. He started reading his resume. Paul, come back here and put us all to shame. Put us all to shame. You grab all the great teachers or whatever. He put them all, put us all, us, me too, put us all to shame. So he is saying that he takes all that as a loss. It's all should be a loss in comparison to Yahshua.
Yeah.
Go ahead, brother.
Absolutely. Because of Messiah.
Because of who?
Messiah.
Now he's the mediator, ain't he?
Yes,
And there's really only one way to get back to the Father. Now, she just read a minute ago that the Father is searching.
yes,
And what do the people got to be doing? Worshiping the what?
Spirit and truth.
Spirit and truth. That's the only way. And then he just said, hey, through Messiah.
Yep.
So the only way that the Father is going, put your finger right there. John 6 and 44. Go right back to it, brother. Go ahead and get us John 6 and 44.
Gotcha.
No one can come there.
No one is able to come to me unless the Father who sent me, the Father who sent me draws him, and I shall raise him up in the last day.
Hallelujah.
Okay. So Yahshua like, look, can't nobody come unless Yah sent you. My Father sent you. You the same one that sent me.
Yes, sir.
So she read somewhere somebody said, look, this is what the Father's looking for. Then it gets validated. It's like, well, look, these are the conditions. And then he's saying, yeah, I got a great resume. Man, I'm a Hebrew of Hebrews. I'm a Pharisee. I was circumcised on the 8th day. I'm on the tribe of Benjamin. I'm great with the bow staff. I'm great in the law. I'm great in all the oracles. I throw it away. For who? For Messiah. That's how I throw it away. Go ahead and go back to, thank you, brother. Go ahead and go back to Hebrews. I'm sorry, go back to Philippians. Yes, sir.
What is more, I even count all to be lost because of the excellence of the knowledge of Messiah Yeshua.
The what now?
The excellence of the knowledge of Messiah Yeshua.
So your mind, being like his, outweighs everything. Your mind, being like his, outweighs everything. Go ahead.
My master, for whom I have suffered the loss of all, and count them as refuse in order to gain Messiah, and be found in him, not having my own righteousness, which is of the law, but that which is through belief in Messiah, the righteousness which is from Elohim.
Now, hold right there. He said to be found what?
In Messiah.
Found in him?
Yes.
So it kind of goes back to how we've been talking about here, about Mashiach, and how Yahshua going to bring all things to himself. And you have got to be a part of his body. And what will be part of his body? Everything.
Right.
It's like, sir, sir, what's your occupation? I run stuff. What you run? Everything. What you mean? Well, I run the heaven, Shamayim. I run the Eretz, the earth. I run things under the earth. All people, all creatures, the stars, planets, water, it's all in me. Everything. So Shaul, like, I got to be found in him. Ain't no other way. Now the Father, she said it was real simple. The Father looking for those worshiping spirit and truth. Real simple. Paul broke the thing down. He said, look, I give rid of my whole resume. I rip my resume right now. As long as I can be found in him. Go ahead, brother.
But that which is through belief in Messiah.
Yes.
The righteousness which is from Elohim on the basis of belief. To know him and the power of his resurrection.
The what?
The power of his resurrection.
Now give me, okay, now that's okay. He just read in John 6 that he's going to do what at the last day?
Raise him up.
Raise him up the last day. Powerful. Folks been dead for thousands of years. They're going to stand up. Folks done been burnt. Folks done, what you call it when you burn your body? You don't have a funeral. What you call it? Folks been cremated. Folks done been murdered. Folks done been hit by nuclear bombs and disintegrated. Everybody gonna stand up. That's why he had to go through all that. That's why, when he was sitting there saying, Father, if this cup can pass from me. Right, but there's so much on the other side that he got to do, because Yah could do it. He could do it. It's like my son don't do it. He and we're gonna go by every guideline in the Torah. Every guideline, he gonna hit every check. That's why I say, hey man, I told you it was written to me. Thank you, brother, because I really got off track. But anyway, thank you, readers. But so the Lord is not slack. Back when we back when we're going. The Lord is not slack concerning His promise, as some men count slackness, but is long suffering to usward, not willing that any should perish. It's almost like you a grown person and you want to fight a baby. You can do whatever you want to do to the baby. You can do suplexes, DDTs. You can pick the baby up and throw the baby. You can do whatever you want to do. And that's how Yah is with us. I can mess y'all up, but He's so good. It's like I'm long suffering because I don't want y'all to get these hands. I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to hurt you. I don't want you to perish. I wish, but that all, what does all mean again?
All means all.
No, you got a technical.
Total sum.
The total sum. I want the total sum of all you humanoids to come to repentance.
Yeah.
So we're like, man, the Lord taking his time. He's taking his time. No. He wants everybody to get themselves together.
Yeah.
There will be a day when we get ourselves together. It's going to be too late. We went to that Noah's Ark some weeks ago. That was a great trip. Shalom and peace to Bishop Greer and his wife and Tabernacle Hope. Shalom to them. We went up there to Noah's Ark. There was a picture. They had a beautiful picture, a drawing of what it was like where Noah's Ark was probably up at the top of this hill, and the waters and all the stuff, and the animals, the sharks, and then there was a picture of people who were like at their altar to their God, like praising to their, oh, God of whatever, or deity of whatever, like, please stop this, and it's gonna be too late. And that's what folks gonna be doing. It's gonna be like the days of Noah. I mean, that's what the book says. I thought that was what they say, a picture worth of what? 1,000 words. So United States, happy birthday, 243 years old. Very young nation. Very young nation. And I know a lot of people, when they teach and preach, they always appoint America to Babylon. And when we talk about Babylon, we talk about the Babylonian system, because it's a mystery. It's a spider web with a lot of different angles and, different lines and webs. There is a center point. Okay, but I think sometimes some teachers give America too much credit. Give America too much credit. But the United States is 240, is very old, but very young. Very, 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 very young. Okay, the United States is 243 years old. We've talked about this before. Remember Benjamin Franklin? He had a writing or a letter some years ago in 1751. Remember I was talking about this? Right, America as the land of opportunity in 1751. Benjamin Franklin, the Moors of Western Europe. Okay, and Ben Franklin on stupid, swarthy German. So as we looked at this and we were looking at what he was saying, you start to say, hey, wait a minute. He's calling some people in Europe black. Make a long story short. Immigrants to America have always been feared and hated. Germans represent the largest group of immigrants to America, outnumbering the English and Irish by a wide margin. 20% of Americans can trace their descent back to Germany, but they were not universally welcome to our shores. We get to the good stuff. Germans were too stupid to learn English, therefore presented a political threat to America. The other objection that Ben Franklin had to German immigrants was their swarthy complexion. We've done a word study on swarthy, just means dark. Okay, dark. Which was an affront to the purely white people. So one people's swarthy and the other people's purely white who originally settled in America. Okay, why should Pennsylvania, founded by the English colony, become a colony of aliens who will surely be so numerous as to Germanize instead of our anglifying them? And will never adopt our language or customs as they can acquire our complexion. This is something Benjamin Franklin wrote. So he was talking about the Germans, and he was saying that we should be trying to either anglify them, but they will never adopt our language or customs any more than they can acquire our complexion. So they look different. They look different. Then he says, which leads me to add one remark, the number of purely white people in the world is proportionally very small. All Africa is black or tawny. Asia, chiefly tawny. America, exclusive of the newcomers, wholly so. So Ben Franklin is writing, talking about in 1751. Well, when did America get its independence? 1776. Okay, so this is when they're still in their colonial state. Right? They're planning, and I get it, want to be a nation. And they're like, look, there's a lot of colored people around here. When we got here, there was a lot of colored people here. So we've kind of thrown it out there that, not all of the people that were put in slavery were brought over on ships. Some were already here. We also can see now, according to Ben Franklin, that there were plenty of Europeans who were just black people coming across on ships. And then he says, and in Europe, the Spaniards, Italians, French, Russians, Swedes are generally of what we call a swarthy complexion, as are the Germans also the Saxons only, excepted who with the English make the principal body of white people on the face of earth. You know, so have you ever seen people talk about, you know, Europeans, you know, black European kings and things like that? Those things were true. I know I think Stephen Collins' book, he talks about the children of Israel going into Europe. And I think with that study, it's just hard to say, hey, man, they're people of color. So there's just a lot of evidence of people of color being there. But, whatever, neither here nor there. We want to start getting emails.
No FBI.
So let me see. Squaring our planet by clearing America of woods, and so making this side of our globe reflect a brighter light in the eyes of inhabitants in Mars or Venus. Why should we, in the sight of superior beings, darken its people? Why increase the sons of Africa by planting them in America, where we have so fair an opportunity by excluding all blacks and tawnies, and increasing the lovely white and red? But perhaps I am partial to the complexion of my country, which that's most people are. Okay? He says, I am partial to the complexion of my country, for such kind of partiality is natural to mankind, which is true. That is true. This is coming from Ben Franklin in a letter that he wrote. So I just want to bring this. We haven't talked about this in a while, but I want to bring this up to you just to kind of get an idea of the thought of people, you know, in 1751. So, quick timeline. All right, captives arrive to the American colonies. I have an asterisk by 1619 because I do have some history books that let us know that there were people of color here who were not freed via ship before this date. But in regards to just the 13 colonies, we got 1619. So you have 157 years later, and then the Continental Army, right, the 13 colonies, they defeat the British, and we have 1776, okay? And then 87 years later, we have Abraham Lincoln signed Emancipation Proclamation, right? January 1st, 1863. 2 years later, slaves were liberated, December 1865, okay? If we're familiar with Juneteenth, that celebration, so 6 months after 1865 in December is when Union is going into Texas and like, hey, hold up, man, they still got people locked up down here. Like, that was 6 months ago. So they went like half a year still keep people in slavery. Okay, so that's just a brief, general, simple timeline. If you want it, just let me know, and I'll pull it back up after. But just a very general, small, simple timeline. So the reason why I want to do that and look at what Ben Franklin was saying, was that when we look at the word emancipate. We talked about this. I want to look at this again. Emancipate. It's a verb. It means to free. Okay? Right? Emancipation Proclamation. To restrain, control, or the power of another, especially to free from bondage. To release from parental care and responsibility. Okay? To free from any controlling influence such as traditional morals or, I think it's really morals or beliefs. Okay? So, Emancipation Proclamation sounds pretty plain. Right? So we're going to look at one more thing. We're going to look at the etymology of the word emancipate. The history of it. The Latin, it means emancipatus. Past participle of emancipare, from emancipare, to transfer ownership of. I'll say it again. The etymology, the Latin root of emancipate means to transfer ownership of. I got this off of what you call it? Webster's. Merriam and Webster's. So the etymology of the word, so he could have used any word he wanted to use. Yeah. Abraham Lincoln could use any word he wanted to use. But the etymology of the word emancipation, emancipate, it means to transfer ownership of. So if that's true, then the question is, when the slaves were freed, were they freed or was their situation just transferred? I ain't make it up. Just the etymology. Could use any word. So to transfer ownership. To transfer ownership. So, if that's the case, then we have a nation that is born in 1776, and we have a group of people, a subgroup of people whose status has been emancipated. Their ownership just been transferred. So we have a nation inside of a nation. Deuteronomy 4:34, sir. Deuteronomy 4:34.
As Elohim tried to go and take for himself a nation from the midst of a nation.
He did what?
He took a nation from the midst of a nation.
He took a nation from the midst of another nation. So this is possible. So this is something when we're talking about the Emancipation and Proclamation, that the etymology of the word emancipate means to transfer ownership of. Right? The root of it. Like when we do our Hebrew and we look at words, and we always got to look at that child root, don't we? We always got to look at the child root. Like, what does that mean? So we get an idea more of that noun or adjective, whatever description. Go ahead, brother. Read.
By trials and by signs and by wonders.
By what?
By trials.
By trials.
Signs. Yes, sir.
Signs and what else?
Wonders.
Wonders. So he brought a nation out of another nation by trials, signs,
and wonders.
Wonders. Okay. So if literally the people here is a nation inside of a nation, and if they fit a certain description, and if God say, I'm going to come get them, I wonder how would he do it? It would be with
trials,
what? Trials,
signs, and wonders.
Because it's a nation inside of a nation.
Right.
And he's trying to pull them out. Huh. Was that all of it? 34?
No, there was actually
Go ahead, read.
And by battle.
And by, battle.
And by a strong hand and an outstretched arm.
Wow.
And by great fearsome deeds.
Wow.
According to all that Yah your Elohim did for you in Mizraim before your eyes.
Wow. So, on a unique day, matter of fact, so on July the 4th, we started having earthquakes.
Yep.
Give me Hosea. Might be 1.
What's it say?
1 and...
What is it? What is it talking about?
He says, I hate your solemn day. I hate your feast.
Oh, okay.
So I hate it.
Yeah, that,
Is that in Hosea? I think it is.
Yes.
Which one? Where is it at?
In Hosea 2:11 it says, I will cause all her mirth to cease.
oh, yeah.
It says that there, but...
Yeah. Go ahead and read that, brother. I thought it was just why I just hate him.
No.
That's in Isaiah.
Yeah, that's in Isaiah. Yeah, exactly.
Isaiah. You got it, brother?
You want me to get Isaiah?
Yeah, go ahead and turn it. I think it's in Isaiah now.
Yeah.
I think it just came to me. So.
Yeah, that's Isaiah 1 and 14.
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Let me start.
That's what I was waiting for.
Stop bringing futile offerings, incense. It is an abomination to me. New moons, Sabbaths, the calling of gatherings. I am unable to bear unrighteousness in assembly. My being hates your new moons and your appointed times. They are a trouble to me. I am weary of bearing them. And when you spread out your hand, I hide my eyes from you, even though you make many prayers. I do not hear. Your hands have become filled with blood.
Hands are full of what?
Blood.
So there are certain days or certain things that you might celebrate that it might be a feast to you. Most I say, I hate it.
Yep.
And I'm tired of it. I'm sick of it. I'm so sick of it. On your day of rejoicing, I'm going to shake your foundation. And after I shake your foundation, I'm going to shake it again. And I ain't done with you. You say you got something?
Yeah, Amos 5:21. I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assembly.
So when we read that, we say, well, hey, he's talking to the children of Israel. Fact, that's true. We're going to look at something at the end, though. Okay. So, freedom for one, it might not be described or received as someone else understands freedom. Right? So we had to look at the etymology of emancipate to get like, hey man, it just transferred ownership. Okay? So I think the brother read Deuteronomy 4:34, right? A nation inside of a nation. And we had, so a question, was the Negro ever meant to be a part of this nation? Okay? Now, 100 years ago, you got what? 1919? Right? Well, in 1917, there was a riot in St. Louis. Okay, 100 Negroes shot, burned, clubbed to death in East St. Louis, race war. And it was just really over labor. Just overworking, okay? So, that was the 102 years ago. Okay? So now we got to look at what does the Torah teach? What does our Torah teach? Okay? We realize that there is advocating for the betrothed. There's advocating for the betrothed. Okay? So if Yah has you, or if he's laid claim to you, he said there's advocating for the betrothed. Okay? Turn to Deuteronomy 22. I did turn the arrow on. Somebody turn the arrow off or something? Put that thing on 50.
It's that time of year we like to start turning it on Friday.
So Deuteronomy 22, we're going to look in verse 25. May you be blessed. May you bless you and keep you. Thank you. Deuteronomy 22 and 25, and it reads, "But if a man find a betrothed damsel in the field, and the man force her and lie with her, then the man only that lay with her shall die. But unto the damsel thou shalt do nothing. There is in the damsel no sin worthy of death. For as when a man rises against his neighbor and slayeth him, even so is this matter. For he found her in the field, and the betrothed damsel cried." So we got to pay attention right there. And the betrothed damsel cried. And there was none to save her. So I have a little scenario here in the Torah where if a woman is betrothed to somebody, that woman belongs to somebody, and then somebody comes and they find that woman, they take her, rough her up, they force her, they lay with her. In the law, that man should die. I'll say it again. If a man finds a woman in the field and she belongs to somebody else, someone else says, "That is my bride. I'm coming for her." If someone takes her, forces her, jumps on her, takes her, and she cries, and no one comes to the rescue, that man must die.
Okay.
Oh, is it kind of...
Yeah.
We're starting to fit the pieces together. So what is truly Yah's freedom? Well, we got free. We have things out, especially for the woman, for the bride. Now Messiah is coming for his what? Bride.
Yes.
Now we cook. Now we starting to cook something. Now we cook. So we have a nation inside of a nation whose building and apparatus and ambitions and goals wouldn't include you. And that's fine. Not including you. It's okay. So we're going this way, but we're stuck with these people. Book says, hey, you find a woman in the field, she's betrothed to somebody. You done took her. You done raped her. You done robbed her. You done stole her. And she cried for help. And no one came to her aid. Won't be no sin in her. I'm going to kill you. I'm just repeating what the book said. Folks look at me like, look. Just repeat what the book said. Okay, so we have a law that is, it's right there in your Torah. Right there. Now let's turn to Hosea. Let's turn to Hosea. So I was kind of playing around, but now that happy birthday stuck in my head. Happy birthday to, now it's stuck in my head. Can't get out of my head now. We're going to look at Hosea, 2nd chapter. We're going to look at, starting verse 1. Hosea 2:1, and it reads, say unto your brethren, Ami, and your sisters, Ruamah, plead with your mother, plead, for she is not my wife, neither am I her husband. Let her therefore put away her whoredoms out of her sight, and her adulteries from between her breasts, lest I strip her naked, and set her as in the day that she was born, and make her as a wilderness, and set her like a dry land, and slay her with thirst. And I will not have mercy upon her children, for they be the children of whoredoms. I will not have mercy upon her children, for they be the children of whoredoms. For their mother hath played the harlot, she that conceived them hath done shamefully, for she said, I will go after my lovers that give me my bread, my water, my wool, my flax, mine oil, my drink. Therefore, behold, I will hedge up thy way with thorns, and make a wall, that she shall not find her path. She shall follow after her lovers, and they shall not overtake them, and they shall seek them, but shall none find them. Then shall she say, I will go and return to my first husband, for then it was better with me than now. So this woman has been ratchet and jumped around and messed around and been around the way girl, been all the way around the world, been all them worshiped and been served and done this and done that. At some point, this woman going to say, I want to go back to my first husband. So even though this woman has played the whore, she's still been betrothed to another man. Verse 8, sorry. For she did not know that I gave her corn and wine and oil, and multiplied her silver and gold, which they prepared for Baal. Therefore will I return and take away my corn in the time thereof, and my wine in the season thereof, and will recover my wool and my flax given to cover her nakedness. Now I discover her lewdness in the sight of her lovers, and none shall deliver her out of my hand. None shall deliver her out of my hand. So when Yah begins to do things to this woman in the midst of these nations, he's talking about building up a wall of thorns, and he said, can't nobody help her. So one thing you know about this particular woman is that she can't get no help. She can't get no help. You ever notice how like some things happen with other countries and other nations, and other nations come in and help and fight? They send the military over, or they send aid, or they send weapons, or they do something. During that 1619 to, 1865, who helped? Did anybody help? From 1619 over here to, 1865, who helped? Did anybody come and help? Did somebody say, hey man, let these people go? Somebody send ships over here and we're going to go to war because you're treating people bad. Like, did anything happen? What about during Jim Crow? Did somebody come over and help? Verse 11. I will cause all her mirth to cease, her feast days, her new moons, her Sabbaths, all her solemn feasts. I will destroy her vines and her fig trees, whereof she has said, these are my rewards that my lovers have given me. I will make them a forest, and the beasts of the field shall eat them. So the beasts of the field, they have a way with all the production of this woman. Like the beasts have the way. And just like she ain't got nothing. And I will visit upon her the days of Baalim, where she burned incense to them, and she decked herself with earrings, jewels, and she went after her lovers and forgot me, saith Yah. Therefore, behold, I will allure her and bring her into the wilderness and speak comfortably unto her. Haven't we heard that before? About somebody being brought to the wilderness. I'm going to plead with you one more time. You got to pass upon this rod. Remember that? Mm-hmm. Have you heard that before? Yes. Which prophet said that? Quiz. Which prophet do we read that out of? Nah, close. Ezekiel. There we go. There we go. And I will give her vineyards from thence, the valley of Achor, a door of hope, and she shall sing as in the days of her youth, and as in the day when she came up out of the land of Egypt. So this woman is going to be going through something that's very parallel to Egypt. And didn't he read Deuteronomy 4 and 34? And didn't he read in the text that y'all had to go and do something that hadn't been done? I'm going to pull a nation out of another nation with what?
With signs,
wonders,
and a strong hand.
Strong hand, with battle, of power, with might, with wonders, signs. And he's going to do something. He's going to do something.
Signs and wonders.
Trials, that was the word.
Trials, signs, wonders, outstretched hand, battle. So this is what he's going to do for this woman wherever she is. Oh, and by the way, in his Torah, he said that if a woman is betrothed to another man and a man comes to her and takes her and lies with her and rapes her and forces her and she cries for help and no one came to her, I'm a killer. People died in Egypt, dude. When the Most High did what he had to do. Verse 16, and it shall be in that day, saith the Lord, that thou shalt call me Ishi. And shall no more call me Baalim. For I will take away the names of Baalim out of her mouth. And they shall no more be remembered by their name. And in that day will I make a covenant for them with the beasts of the field and the fowls of heaven and the creeping things of the ground. I will break the bow and the sword of the battle out of the earth. I will make them to lie down safely. That sounds familiar, like what, with the lion and lamb laying together, where the baby can take his hand and put it in the den of vipers and not get bit. Verse 19. We had to read it to get to this right. We could just jump this right here, but I want to build it up. I want to build up that suspense. And I will betroth thee unto me forever. Yea, I will betroth thee unto me in righteousness, in judgment, in loving kindness, in mercies. I will even betroth thee unto me in faithfulness. Hallelujah. And thou shalt know that I am Yahuwah. So, this woman was a kind of get-around girl. So there's a mixture of the woman doing her thing, and then the Most High like, okay, you want to play hardball? I got you. I'll play hardball with you. But in the end, I'm going to bring you back to me. We're going to be one. And if I have to destroy, kill, judge, whatever, I'm going to do it because you're mine. Remember Deuteronomy 22, 25-27. If the damsel is found in the field and a man forces himself on her and she cries for help and no one comes to her aid, I'm going to kill her. So we get the picture of what? Like a knight in shining armor. Dun, 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 dun. Right? The Most High is a knight in shining, coming to get his woman. Coming to get his woman. Look at Joel chapter 3. He'll come and get his woman. Like Jamie Foxx. What was that movie Jamie Foxx was in? Django. Man had that blue suit on, had that whip. He said, hey, I'm coming to get my woman. Hey, we were wearing everybody out that whip. So I'm coming to get my woman. Now we're going to ride off in the sunset. Joel 3:1. Hallelujah, whenever you get there. Joel 3:1. For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat. I will plead with them for my people I will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations. So this gathering is going to be very physical, right? Because he was very physical with Egypt. And when we looked at Hosea, that the way that this woman who kind of been out and about in them streets, all right, she was out in the shake junk, she was out in the strip club, she was out on the whole stroll, she was out and about with all these nations, and then y'all said in your punishment, you are scattered. You are scattered all over. So when I come get you, I'm going everywhere. And apparently, people, nations, ain't going to let you go. Like a repeat. Like Pharaoh didn't want to let him go, did he? He didn't want to let him go. They have cast lots for my people. They've given a boy for a harlot, sold girl for wine that they may drink. Yea, and what have I to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, in the coast of Palestine? Will you render me a recompense? If you recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head? Because you have taken my silver and my gold and carried into your temples my goodly, pleasant things. When you take something that don't belong to you, is that stealing?
Yes, sir.
That's stealing, huh? Have mercy. The children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have you sold to the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border. Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither you have sold them. I will raise them up. We have sold them. I will return your recompense upon your own head. I will sell your sons and your daughters in the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell to the Sabians, to the people far off, for the Lord hath spoken it. Proclaim this among the Gentiles, or the nations, prepare war. Wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about thither, cause the mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be wakened, and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full, the vats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of Yah is near in the valley of decision. The sun and moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. You look up at the screen, we'll go back to this chapter, but so there's rumblings throughout the earth. It's all kind of stuff going on. Right? There's all kind of things. Doesn't matter where, if it's in Kuwait or Middle East, flooding and all kind of crazy stuff. Or locusts just all over in Mecca. There's all kind of stuff going on. Don't matter if it's a blood moon, just blood eclipse on feast days, on the Moedim, just as he said. Sun is black, sackcloth sun. So verse 15 again, the sun and the moon shall be darkened, the stars shall withdraw their shining. What happens after? The Lord shall roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall what? Shake. What's going to shake? The earth.
Yes.
There's some shaking going on. And they're saying, hey, it's going to be some more. There's some more coming.
Yes, sir.
And there's more yet to come. But the Lord will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel. So there was something that said that about they stole something. Okay, somebody stole something. Brother, give me Exodus 21:16. Everybody else turn to Zechariah 5th chapter. Everybody else turn to Zechariah 5th chapter.
And he who kidnaps a man and sells him, or if he is found in his hand, shall certainly be put to death.
He shall do what?
He shall be put to death.
For doing what?
For stealing.
For stealing?
For kidnapping.
Kidnapping.
Yes.
Have mercy. And then they say in Joel, one of the things that Yah had accused, he said, man, look, you done came into my temple, you stole my goodly things.
Exodus 21.
That was Exodus 21:16.
21:16.
So in Joel the prophet, so one reason why I'm going to go to war with y'all, because you came into my temple and you stole my stuff. Well, you know, the Romans, they stole the menorah and the ark and all yeah, that's true. But he's talking about the people. Think y'all care about a golden lampstand? He said, I got a bunch of them in heaven. You came and you stole people. So what happens in Exodus 21:16 again, brother? What happens again?
He who kidnaps a man and sells him, or if he is found in his hand, shall certainly be put to death.
And in Exodus 21, that's in that area where, you know, they go to the mountain, right? This is when y'all talking. This is when that fire. This is part of your Torah right here. Okay, this ain't including things being added and folks being knuckleheads, and therefore thou shalt do. No, this is like ritual. So you got a problem with that. Big problem with that. You everybody in Zechariah 5? Everybody in Zechariah 5?
Yes.
Zechariah 5:1. It reads, Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. He said to me, What seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits. The breadth thereof is 10 cubits. Then said he unto me, This is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. For everyone that stealeth, for everyone that stealeth, for everyone that stealeth shall be cut off as on this side according to it, and everyone that swears shall be cut off on that side according to it. And I will bring it forth, saith the Lord of hosts. It shall enter into my house. It shall enter into the house of the thief. It shall enter into the house of the thief, and into the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name. And to the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name, it shall remain in the midst of his house, and shall consume it with the timber thereof and the stones thereof. Now, so the thief, there's a curse going to go into their house. And then those that have swore falsely by his name, this curse goes into their house. So who? The thief. And those who swore falsely by what? By his name. So you got category 1, thief. Category 2, those that have sworn falsely by his name. The curse goes into the house. It goes into the house and consumes the house. We got that. Everybody follow?
Yes, sir.
So who has stolen Yah's things? Now, Genesis 9:27. I got it on the screen for you. God enlarged Japheth, and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem, and let Canaan be their servant. Okay? Now, we've talked about this before, but in the yellow, I have enlarged, and in that first word of that sentence there, you have Yaphat. Okay? Yaphat. All right? Yaphat Elohim li Yafet. Okay? Vayishachon. Okay? Ba Ohel Shem. All right? So we have the enlarging of Japheth, and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem. Okay? That's Genesis 9:27. So the big words are enlarge and tent. Mainly enlarge. So when we look at enlarge is patah. It means to be open. To be spacious. Okay? What does that mean? He's going to make Japheth open, make him spacious. But if we keep looking, it says to be open, spacious, to make open, to be simple-minded. To be simple-minded, to entice someone. To deceive someone. To persuade someone. So enlarge is an awful translation in English. This is why we study our Hebrew now.
Yeah.
It's necessary. So enlarge is a bad translation. To entice, or to deceive, or to persuade. Now let's go back to that verse. Who's going to enlarge Japheth? Who doesn't? God. So God has made to be simple-minded, enticed, deceived, persuaded. Who? Japheth. So Japheth has been deceived, persuaded, made it simple-minded, okay, made their mind, over their mind big, just put whatever in it. And then he says, and he, who is he? Japheth, shall dwell in the tents of who? Shem. That's in your book. I don't know what to tell you. So God has deceived, persuaded, enticed Japheth, made him wide open. My mom used to say something to me. I started talking to girls when I was in high school. She said, boy, your nose wide open. Girls calling the house on the phone and late at night. You know, it's been back in the 80s and 90s. There's only one phone. It's one line. It's one line, but it's 3 phones in the house. So you can be on the phone.
Yeah.
And somebody else, the mama can be on the phone. The other one line, it's just one line in the house. Yeah, you know, the game. I see at the game, we're going to go out, we're going to do this. And then all of a sudden you just hear, boy, it's 12 o'clock at night. What you doing? I done hung up and rolled up like I was asleep. Nose wide open, as my mom would say. So Yah has made Japheth, the people, not just Japheth, but the descendants of Japheth, wide open. And he has enticed, he has persuaded, he's pushed, and they dwell in the tents of Shem. But remember, to be simple-minded. Hope that makes sense. No, it's a lot of information. So we're starting to settle in a little bit. So whom has been enlarged in Shem's tent? Who's been deceived? We can need these 2 religions to take a stand. Christianity, we call it before the court. You got to come up here, put your hand on the scripture. You tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. Once we get through with them, Judaism, you up? Come up here. Put your hand on this scripture. We're going to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help me. So we're looking at the religions, the pushers of the religion, because both these religions got something in common. Your text. Remember, God enlarged Japheth. He made them. He made them. Persuaded, deceived, that they be in the tent, the covering. Now, one of the words for ohel, I'm sorry, y'all, my bad. Tent is ohel, and ohel means tent, like Abraham's tent or somebody's tent. But ohel can also be translated in a few places, tabernacle. Tabernacle. So you know when they got in the wilderness, they had to build a tabernacle. This is where the presence of Yah came down. So when we talk about the tent, it's not just being in someone's land or someone's house, but also in the tabernacle. Whew. Sorry, I forgot that. What was that? So we have different ideologies, different religions where people are captive and people are made to believe this is the way. Right? I mean, I don't know. The cross and the fish going to have people with rainbow stuff on here in a minute. Because their pastor going to tell them to. And Judaism, I'm going to tell you right now, once we get globalized, now I think it was the Sanhedrin will more than likely be the religious authority of the world. So get your popcorn ready. It's get your popcorn ready. Because we're going to go, we're going to be one. Just get your popcorn ready. Okay? Once again, he who endures to the end shall be saved. Okay, so I'll change gears now. If you have your scripture with you, your new scriptures, you can turn to Baruch as well. Or you can look at the screen. So we're going to turn to Baruch, the 4th chapter. You have yours. Baruch 4. And when we look at the extra biblical books, they're generally going to be in the middle. It's called the intertestament period between our quote-unquote Old Testament and quote-unquote New Testament. So they'll usually always be in the middle. But in Baruch, if you go on the front, you can probably see what page and stuff like that. Just give me hallelujah whenever you get there, if that's where you're going. Hallelujah. Or you look at the screen. So Baruch 4th chapter, 27th verse, it says, "Be of good comfort, O my children, and cry unto God, for ye shall be remembered of him that brought these things upon you." Okay, once again, so what was the one thing in the Torah, Deuteronomy 22, was that the damsel has to do what?
Cry out.
She has to cry. Because in a few verses before that, if the damsel does not cry, you're guilty too. But if you cry out,
hallelujah.
If you cry out now, right? So, what do you say? They say, Yahshua, tell your disciples. He said, man, our disciples shut them out, the stones will cry out.
Yes, sir.
You cannot hold your peace.
Yes, sir.
And cry out to God. You should be remembered of him that brought these things upon you. For as it was your mind to go astray. So even though we're talking about these different things, we always got to come back to ourselves. It was your mind to go astray from God. So being returned, seek him 10 times more. For he that has brought these plagues upon you, shall bring you everlasting joy. But we just read it in Hosea, right in that 2nd chapter. What's more greater than Yahshua coming and getting you and claiming you and betrothing you forever? Forever. You're going to be his forever. So he that has brought these plagues upon you shall bring you everlasting joy with your salvation. Take, O good heart, O Jerusalem, for he that gave thee that name will comfort thee. So we got to hang in there. Okay, we're going to look at another extra biblical text. 2nd Esdras 8. So if you're in your new text, brother, you got your script. Go ahead and read that for me. 2nd Esdras being 8. Left mine in the office.
2nd Esdras 8 and what verse?
41 through 50. We'll be in 2nd Esdras 8, 41 through 50.
For as the husbandman...
Just let you know, let folks kind of get...
Sorry.
That's all right. Sorry. Just give us a hallelujah whenever you get to 2nd Esdras 8, 41 through 50. Second Esdras 8, 41 through 50. Okay. Hallelujah. All right. Go ahead, brother.
For as the husbandman soweth much seed upon the ground, and planteth many trees, and yet the thing that is sown good in his season cometh not up, neither doth all that is planted take root. Even so is it of them that are sown in the world. They shall not all be saved. I answered then and said, if I have found grace, let me speak. Like as the husbandman's seed perisheth, if it come not up, and receive not thy rain in due season, or if there come too much rain and corrupt it, even so perisheth man also, which is formed with thy hands, and is called thine own image, because thou art like unto him. For whose sake thou hast made all things, and likened him unto the husbandman's seed. Be not wroth with us, but spare thy people, and have mercy. Be not wroth. He knows better.
On Facebook, Tom.
Be not wroth with us, but spare thy people, and have mercy upon thine own inheritance.
Oh, have mercy upon who?
Thine own inheritance.
Thine own inheritance.
For thou art merciful unto thy creature. Then answered he me and said, things present are for the present, and things to come for such as be to come. For thou comest far short that thou shouldest be able to love my creature more than I.
Go back. Say that again.
For thou comest far short that thou shouldest be able to love my creature more than I. But I have oft times drawn nigh unto thee, and unto it, but never to the unrighteous.
Never to who?
The unrighteous. In this also thou art marvelous before the Most High, in that thou hast humbled thyself as it becometh thee, and hast not judged thyself worthy to be much glorified among the righteous. For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride.
Said a mouthful right there. So in the aspect of the husbandman sowing seed, I think we've heard that before, right? That should sound very familiar. Matthew 13, right? The parable of the sower. What we come to see is that when it comes to the end time, those of us in the end time, he says, look, he said, I don't draw close to the unrighteous. I ain't got nothing to do with you. Now, him and Ezra is having a conversation about who? The people of Israel. He's like, do you love this creature more than I, and I created it? I mean, it's my woman. You gonna tell me what I'm gonna do with my wife? And how I'm gonna bring my wife home? So he said, look, paraphrase, said, unrighteous, I don't get close to them. But you done humbled yourself. So it's clear that the children of Israel in their scattering, they got to become a humbled people to be reunited. If you are a saint, you are a called out one. If you are a Christian, though I will start saying you need to be a first century Christian. If you identify as a Christian today, you see where it's going. Your leader's taking you somewhere. And if you ain't got the guts to stand up on the word, then you sure ain't going to have the guts to say, no, Pastor, I ain't doing that. So, thank you, brother. Let's go to Isaiah 51. So as we see, he says it's going to be hard for them people in the end days. A lot of time when we look out there, we don't see a lot of humility. When it comes to different groups and assemblies and camps, we don't see a lot of humbleness. We don't see a lot of humility. We see a lot of pride. But I think what he just read was pretty much saying, I'm going to get them because of their pride. Isaiah 51. Isaiah 51, now we went over this before, but it's always good. And then what Peter said, that I got to keep you in remembrance of these things. Right? That's what we're supposed to be done, to keep you in remembrance of these things. Isaiah 51 and 15. Hallelujah. Never get to Isaiah 51 and 15. We're going to tie this all up. We'll tie it all up. Isaiah 51 and 15, and it reads, But I am Yahuwah Elohim that divided the sea, whose waves roared. Yah of hosts is his name. Yah of Zabaoth is his name. Now, I just love how the Most High sometimes be like, hey, allow me to introduce myself. Like, when I was coach, you pull out your business card. That's the Most High pull out his business card. So you don't know who I am? I split the water. He said, I came down here. When I came down here to land on that mountain, it was hot.
Yes.
It couldn't help it. Earthquake, couldn't help it. Lightning, couldn't help it. Animals, you touch this mountain, kill it. Your little baby touch that mountain, is dead. That's who he is. He came to the atmosphere. He's like, let me introduce myself.
Yes.
I have thy mouth. I have covered thee in the shadow of mine hand, that I may plant the heavens, and I lay the foundation of the earth, and say unto Zion, thou art my people. Awake, awake, stand up, O Jerusalem, which has drunk at the hand of the Lord the cup of his fury. Okay? And thou hast drunken the dregs of the cup of trembling, and wrung them out. There is none to guide her among all the sons whom she hath brought forth, neither is there any that taketh her by the hand of all the sons that she has brought up. These two things are coming to thee. Who shall be sorry for thee? Desolation and destruction, and the famine and the sword. By whom shall I comfort thee? Who's going to comfort? Who cares? Thy sons have fainted, they lie at the head of the streets. As a wild bull in it, they are full of fury of the Lord, the rebuke of thy God. Therefore, hear now this, thou afflicted and drunken, but now with wine. We ain't talking about liquor. We talking about spiritual drunkenness, spiritual chaos. You can't walk on this the righteous road. Your mind messed up. Your heart ain't right. You can't see straight. You can't hear right. We read today in Torah class. Too much fat in your ears. You can't hear nothing. Verse 22. Thus saith thy Lord, thus saith Adonai the Master, the Yahuwah of the Elohim, that pleaded the cause of his people. Behold, I have taken out of thine hand the cup of trembling, even the dregs of the cup of my fury. Thou shalt no more drink it again. Okay. This is when we really got to start paying attention. So we've read these verses and it's like, look, okay, I'm pushing you, I'm chasing you, and Hosea, I've got these hedges, these thorns around you. There's going to come a point where he says, I'm going to take, I need a child.
They all outside, baby.
Out there playing. Come here, Ning. Just stand up. I just want to stand right there. I want to see. So we read this in Isaiah 50 something. Y'all know you don't want to be screened. You just stand right there. So he says, look, you got a cup, and this is the cup. You've been drinking this trembling. You've been drinking this fury. This is my fury. This is my fury. Then also you're going to stop drinking. You're going to take that cup. I'll take that cup out your hand. I'll put that cup in somebody else's hand. So the cup is, there's going to be a point in time, and we can only know by the signs, that I'm going to take the cup out of your hand that I put in your hand to make you drink it. Put in somebody else. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Say you will no more drink it again. Verse 23. But I will put it into the hand of them that afflict thee. And look, that racist talking. I'm just reading Bible. But I will put it into the hand of them that afflict thee, which have said to thy soul, bow down, that we may go over. Thou hast laid thy body as the ground, and as the street to them that went over. So, we're going back to this love story, where I'm looking for the damsel, and she was in the field, and the man ran up on her. The man took her, laid with her, forced her. And we done read in Deuteronomy 22 what he said, but the brother also read Exodus 21 and 16. If you steal, I'm gonna get you. You can't. I'm gonna come get you. So if this is the bride, but this bride, this woman, she was out there a little bit. So y'all had to deal with her. Prophet Isaiah says there's gonna come a point in time, sweetie, you're gonna put that cup down. Put that cup in somebody else's hand. Happy birthday, America. On your day that you proud to be an American. Shake the earth. And he shook it again. So we're supposed to be seeing the signs. In this same chapter, what did he say? He told the people of God, he said, people in Jerusalem, you got to wake up. You got to wake up. Now, we read some in Zechariah. Remember what he said in Zechariah? So there's a curse to the who?
The thief.
Thief. And then the one that does what? Swears falsely by his name. Yeah. So Genesis 9:27. God deceived, pushed, persuaded somebody, enlarged them to be in Shem's tent. And one thing about America, which I believe there are a zillion kind of Israelites here. I don't doubt that. I don't really get off into, well, you're black or you're white. I'm pretty sure it's a mixed melted pot. But Christianity is supposed to be the forefront of this country. Ding, 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 ding. This is supposed to be your marker. So the curse that goes to the house and consumes the house in Zechariah the 5th chapter was to the thief and those that swear falsely by my name. And you probably, more than likely, have his damsel, his betrothed one, in your possession. Wow. Sure, there's a lot of Bible. I'm just saying, there's a whole lot of scripture right there now. And he said, I'm gonna tear up the temper of the house. So there's an aspect of the people of God, like the bloodline, you got to be acting right. Because if you ain't acting right, he read it in 2nd Ezra. He said, I ain't got nothing to do with the unrighteous. So I'm going to turn my attention, because and so we won't know. If we just start seeing a lot of hellacious stuff happening over here, then we'll know that this is coming to pass. We only go by the book. That's all we can go by. So we start seeing more things. Look, and there's all kind of stuff going on. But the more we see, because we know that Yah fights with what? Wonders, signs, it was trials. He said, and I will pull a nation out of another nation, especially if they're mine. If this is my betrothed. Does that make sense? Unfortunately, it does, don't it? So there's no Jubilee for Judah until Mashiach comes. There's no Jubilee. There's no Jubilee. No Jubilee. Leviticus 25, about to wrap this up. Leviticus 25. This is where it's important to understand your law, your Torah, and you'll just separate sin. You know, you're gonna start calling things straight and calling things right. If look, I don't care if somebody black or not, man. If you a sinner, you a knucklehead. You a sinner, you a knucklehead. I don't care what you look like. We supposed to be a royal priesthood. Well, priests got to make good judgment. You got to be able to call things straight. In your law, you're supposed to understand the balance and weigh things out and not having, well, you know, over here, Lady Justice is blind. Yeah, I can tell. You're supposed to be able to call things right, balance things out the right way. You're supposed to be leaning to the left, leaning to the right. I don't care if that Lou ain't little boy or not. I don't care if that's my cousin, we grew up together or not. Man, you're wrong. Treat that person right. Love that person more. That's what most are looking for. Yeah. Read that John 4, and this time it's 4 and 24. 4 and 24, John.
John 4 and 24.
Go ahead and do 23 and 24.
Yes, sir. John 4, 23 and 24.
Yeah.
But the hour is coming, and now is, when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and truth. For the Father is seeking such.
He's what he's looking for.
Yes.
Now where your heart at?
For the Father is seeking such to worship him. God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship in spirit and truth.
That's a must. That's something you got to do. That's why I said, look. That's why I said 2nd Ezra, I don't care about the unrighteous now. So yeah, I understand my identity. I understand my heritage. I know this. If I'm a sinner, I'm a dead man. That I know. Well, did I tell y'all Leviticus?
25.
25, okay. Leviticus 25. I'm gonna cut it short. Let's go to 10. Start at 10. And you shall hallow the 50th year and proclaim liberty throughout all the land to all the inhabitants thereof. It shall be a jubilee unto you, and you shall return every man into his possession, and you shall return every man to his family. Can you imagine that? So you done messed up some stuff. I done messed up my mom and them inheritance and daddy, so they got, I done messed it up. But after 50 years, hey, you can go back, you can start over. You know, we know one thing about this, let me keep reading. A jubilee shall thou 50th year be unto you. You shall not sow, neither reap that which groweth of itself in it, nor the grapes of the vine undressed. Is a jubilee. It shall be holy unto you. You shall eat the increase thereof out of the field. In the year of the jubilee, you shall return every man to his possession. If you sell aught thou to thy neighbor, or buyest thou out of the neighbor's hand, you shall not oppress one another. According to the number of years after the jubilee, thou shalt buy of thy neighbor according to the number of years of the fruits shall he sell unto thee. There's a really important point here I wanted to look at. Just a second. 30. Scroll down to 33. If a man purchase of the Levites, then the house that was sold and the city of his possession shall go out of in the year jubilee, for the houses of the cities of the Levites are their possession among the children of Israel. But if the field of the suburbs or their cities may not be sold, for it is a perpetual possession. If thy brother be waxen poor and fallen in decay with thee, then thou shalt relieve him. Yea, though he be a stranger or a sojourner, that he may live with thee. Take thou no usury of him. Take thou, so look, no, we ain't doing that interest rate mess. That's what people get jammed up on, right? Loans, interest rates, bankers. We're talking about globalization. Bankers. You want to see why wars are started? Go to your international bankers. Funding both sides. That's just known facts now. So everything that's in your Torah not to do, the world do it. Though it be a stranger or sojourner, he may live with thee, thou shalt take no usury of him or increase, but fear thy God. These folks ain't got no fear of Elohim. Interest rate all upside your head. But fear thy God, that thy brother may live with thee. Thou shalt not give him thy money upon usury, nor lend him thy victuals for increase. So there's no jubilee for the people. There's no release. There's nothing. So this is part of Yah's freedom. Where is your jubilee? Could you imagine having a jubilee? Could you imagine getting hit a reset button? Could you imagine, like, man, I was awful, man. I messed my kids over. And that 50th year reset.
Hallelujah.
But that's how he want to do for you. But once again, when this country was going about its establishment, you weren't included. Remember that. And that's okay. Somebody has to come get you and free you and get you up on your feet, to get you erected, standing up on your feet. Gotta be washed.
Hallelujah.
Gotta be washed thoroughly. We need that. Number 16. Number 16. So no matter where you at, we got to be washed. Number 16 and verse 20. The Lord spoke unto Moses and Aaron, saying, separate yourselves from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment. They fell upon their faces and said, O God, the God of the spirits of all flesh, shall one man sin, and wilt thou be wroth with all the congregation? The Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, speak unto the congregation, saying, get you up from about the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. And Moses went up and went unto Dathan and Abiram, and the elders of Israel followed him. And he spoke to the congregation, saying, depart you, I pray you, from the tents of these wicked men, and touch nothing of theirs, lest ye be consumed in all their sins. I think it's about 2 Corinthians. Brother, let me 2 Corinthians 6. Then he say, tell them not to do what, not to touch none of their stuff. Brother, let me 2 Corinthians 6.
14.
And, I think, just a second, brother. 6 and, start at 14.
Do not become unequally yoked with unbelievers.
Don't be what?
Do not become unequally yoked, unevenly yoked.
He said, man, separate from them knuckleheads. Go ahead.
For what partnership have righteousness and lawlessness? And what fellowship has light with darkness? And what agreement has Messiah with Belial? Or what part does a believer have with an unbeliever? And what union has the dwelling place of Elohim with idols? For you are a dwelling place of the living Elohim, as Elohim has said, I shall dwell in them and walk among them, and I shall be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. Therefore, come out from among them and be separate, says Yah.
He said what?
Come out from among them and be separate, and do not touch what is unclean.
Don't do what?
Do not touch what is unclean.
Didn't Moses tell them don't touch none of their stuff?
Pretty much.
Go ahead.
And I shall receive you.
He gonna do what?
Receive you.
So if you don't mess with their stuff, if you get away from them, then he gonna do what?
Receive
He
you.
gonna receive us. So it don't matter where you are. It don't matter what's going on. If y'all start shaking the ground, things start falling from heaven, the earth start opening up, you got to stay away and be separated. Don't touch the unclean thing. And he said, I'm going to receive. Go ahead and finish it up.
And I shall be a father to you.
He going to be a what?
A father. And you shall be sons and daughters to me, says Yah the Almighty.
See, that right there going to get you to that bride status. And we'll be in Ezekiel 14. I'll read it to you. I'm going to read kind of quick. Ezekiel 14 and 12. The word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, when the land sinneth against me by trespassing grievously, then will I stretch out my hand upon it. Right, talking about the whole land. And I will break the staff of the bread thereof. I will send famine upon it, will cut off the man and the beast from it. Though these three men, Noah, Daniel, and Job, were in it, they should deliver but their own souls by their righteousness, saith the Lord God. So he says, if I bring someone to a land, and I punish the land, I punish the land, I punish the land. He says, if Noah, Daniel, and Job were in it, they should deliver their own souls because of their righteousness. 15. If I cause a noisome beast to pass through the land, and they spoil it, so there should be desolate, and no man may pass through because of the beast, though these three men were in it, as I live with the Lord God, they shall deliver neither sons nor daughters. They only shall be delivered, but the land shall be desolate. For if I bring a sword upon that land, and say, sword, go through the land, so that I cut off man and beast from it, though these three men were in it, as I live. He's like, I put that on everything.
Yes, sir.
You know, when you be out there in the street with folks, and man, I put that on my, because I put it on my folks say crazy, I put it on my mama. He's like, I put this on everything. He said, if I send a sword, if I send a beast in your land that I have found guilty, say your sons, your daughters, you better be like Noah, Job, or Daniel. Now just remember, in Zechariah 5, there's a curse for the thief and the one that is falsely sworn by his name. I'm going to take the cup out your hand in Isaiah 51, put it in somebody else's hand. And Yahshua said in Luke 21:36, be found worthy to stand in front of the Son of Man. Did you have a chance to escape? Because he said, I'm going to make a way for you. But you got to have yourself together. You can read the rest of that chapter for your own study. The people of God So the people of God, okay, let me back up. So going back to Genesis 9, when we look at Christianity, Judaism, things like that, when people take the mantle of being, hey, I'm a child of God. When you take that mantle, there's a lot of responsibility with it. When you take the mantle, and if you're a nation like America or other countries, and you say, hey, we're Christian, we believe in the Bible, and Jesus Christ is my Lord, and when you take on the mantle, there's a lot of responsibility. And when you start to do what they did back here, and he warned, and he warned, and he warned, and he warned, and then he showed up. It wasn't in my time, it wasn't in my son's time, it wasn't in my grandson, it was my great-great-grandson time. He showed up, and he had warned, and warned, and warned. This, that. So we went through all that there's going to be a day where this land has to have the sword go through it. The beast got to go through it. Because you've taken the mantle. You've taking the mantle. Pride comes before the fall. We're going to look at, I'm going to read Psalms 19. Brother, you give me 2 Thessalonians 2 and 8. And you give me Hebrews 1 and 3. We're closing out. I'm going to read Psalms 19. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 8.
Which one do you want me to be?
2 Thessalonians 2 and 8.
Yes, sir.
Hebrews 1 and 3. I got Psalms 19. Psalms 19 and 1. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. Their line is gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them hath he set a tabernacle for the sun, which is as a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, and rejoice as a strong man to run a race. His going forth is from the end of the heaven, and his circuit unto the ends of it. There is nothing hid from the heat thereof.
And then the lawless one shall be revealed, whom the master shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and bring to naught with the manifestation of his coming.
Go ahead.
Hebrews
1 and 3.
1 and 3. Hebrews 1 and 3. Who being the brightness of his glory and the express image of his person, and upholding all things by the word of his power, when he had by himself purged our sins, sat down at the right hand of the majesty on high.
So this is the husband. He busting out that chamber. You ever seen the matador when they let that bull out and that bull bust out? Y'all sure gonna bust through that door. Ain't nothing you can do about it. He coming. We got to be found worthy to stand in front of him. We can stand in front of him if we're like him. If something about us in here is like him. Because she done read it about 3 or 4 times that the Father is searching for those, okay, that worship in spirit and truth. You worshiping in spirit and truth, that's what he's looking for. If that's what the Father's looking for, that's what the Son gonna come and get.
Hallelujah.
So we can't have half of it or none of it. And that's a spiritual, personal. If I endure, I will be saved. Now, the physical, in the country you live in, land got to be judged now. And if you live here, you're going to be part of the judgment. But, what for everything's written aforetime is written for our
Learning.
through the comfort and patience of the scriptures we might have.
Oh.
He's saved now. He'll destroy a whole planet. He'll save a family now.
Yeah.
He will save. You had a Rahab the harlot who came back and saved. So he got a track record of saving.
Yes, he does.
He got a track record of saving. We just got to be faithful. Got to be faithful. This land got to be judged now. That ain't being ugly. They ain't talking about what you did to me. Look, that don't even matter. I mean, that's water on the bridge now. According to this book, America, you've taken the mantle of being a strong, Christian, fundamentally solid nation, and now you've gone to the depths of no return, and you ain't returning. Therefore, as Yah is righteous and did his own, he gonna do you. So if you're in this land, and your national pride goes over and beyond your obedience to Yahshua HaMashiach, you in trouble. We're going to pick up on part 2, because pride comes before the fall. We'll save Jack Ma for next week. Go ahead and cut me off, brother. Thank y'all. Peace and shalom. Love y'all. Stay strong. And stay cool. It's hot out there.